Hello, friends. One way or another, we all love to dress well, stylishly, with quality and good taste. And most importantly, in a way that's practical and comfortable. It's easy to name several brands whose quality and authenticity have remained unquestioned year after year for decades on end. Of course, there are countless famous fashion labels out there, but among them is one brand that has managed to win the hearts of millions of people around the world. Reserved, refined, elegant. These words perfectly describe it. And the legendary little crocodile, proudly displayed on clothing, accessories, and sports gear, truly deserves respect. It's this very symbol that turned Lacoste into one of the most popular and recognizable brands on every continent. Today, Lacoste is far more than just clothing and footwear. It's also a wide range of accessories, watches, and of course, fragrances. By the way, according to official statistics, the brand's perfumes are among the most in demand, especially among men. In 2018, the brand celebrated its 85th anniversary. By that time, the company had reached an exceptionally high level of global recognition and sales. And all of this is thanks to comfort seamlessly combined with refined aesthetics, and of course the timeless crocodile emblem, an image that, in any context, is associated with legend and unmistakable quality. But where did it all come from? Who came up with the idea of creating a brand with a crocodile? And why a crocodile of all things? That's exactly what I'm going to tell you today. To truly understand the brand, we need to start with its founder. René Lacoste was born in 1904 into a well-off family. His father was a highly respected figure in France, and René's future seemed to be mapped out from childhood. His father was strict, conservative, and firmly convinced that his son would one day hold a prestigious position in society. But young René had very different plans. From an early age, he became passionately obsessed with tennis, spending every free moment on the court. Until the age of 15, René trained mostly on his own, occasionally under the guidance of instructors. Day after day, tennis became his life. The problem was that no one believed in him. Physically, he didn't fit the image of a successful athlete. He was short, lightly built, and rather frail by professional tennis standards. And that wasn't his only obstacle. His father strongly opposed his son's passion for sport. Arguments at home became a daily routine. The aristocrat wanted his son to become a government official, not some kid running around with a racket. Eventually, his father agreed to give him a chance, but on one condition. René had to become a world champion, and he had just 5 years to do it. 5 years may sound like a long time, but for an aspiring athlete, it's critically short. Weeks and months of intense training, sleepless nights, and relentless discipline followed. René relied solely on hard work and his own strength. He never attended professional academies or elite training programs. With no support from his father, he had only himself to depend on. Day after day, he refined his technique, studying the play styles of professionals, learning to think quickly and strategically. Every move calculated, every step leading him closer to success. This tough life school would later play a crucial role in the creation of his future legacy. In 1923, René received an invitation to France's most prestigious international tennis tournament, and by 1924, he had become one of the country's most successful tennis players. You might be wondering, why does all of this matter? Because it was precisely during this period that the foundation of the great Lacoste empire was laid. Have you ever wondered how that famous alligator came to be? During one of his professional trips, while walking the streets of Boston, the tennis player noticed an expensive and extravagant item displayed in a shop window, a crocodile skin suitcase. Elegant, eye-catching, and far from cheap. "If I win, I'll buy you," he said to himself before one of the toughest tournaments of his career. He was a fierce competitor, at times even aggressive. Every match he played felt like a performance. René poured all his strength and determination into that game. And he won. The very next day, the crocodile skin suitcase was gone from the window. And soon after, the press began calling René the alligator because of his playing style. He lunged across the court with sharp, daring movements, almost like a crocodile striking its prey. A few days after the victory, one of René's closest friends, Robert George, a close companion and an artist, gifted him a drawing of an alligator with its jaws wide open. The elegant lines and fine details instantly captivated René. The very next day, he took his white blazer to a tailor and had the drawing stitched onto one of the pockets. From that moment on, the green crocodile became René Lacoste's unmistakable signature. In 1927, at a US tournament, René stepped onto the court wearing a white polo shirt made according to his own design, featuring 3 buttons and that same iconic alligator on the chest. At the time, tennis was played strictly in traditional attire. The official dress code required a white button-down shirt and trousers. René's choice was seen as a direct challenge to the rigid rules of professional tennis. But no matter how you looked at it, the white polo was far more comfortable, and it looked flawless against the green court. In many ways, it challenged tennis as a sport in its most conservative form. He was heavily criticized. Some even wanted to ban him from competing, but his outfit was so good, so functional and stylish that other players soon began copying René's look. Ironically, that didn't sit too well with him. After a series of similar incidents and the growing popularity of his polo shirts among tennis players, René Lacoste decided to end his sports career. And in 1933, together with knitwear magnate André Gillier, whom René met quite by chance, he founded a new clothing brand named after his own surname. It was the polo shirt that marked the beginning of Lacoste's global success story. But that wasn't all. For the first time in fashion history, a logo was placed not on the inside of a garment, but prominently on the outside. At the time, many people laughed at the idea. As it turned out later, they were laughing for no reason at all. Up until the 1950s, Lacoste polo shirts were produced exclusively in a classic universal white. But not long after, René decided to experiment, and the first colored polo shirts appeared on the American market. It was a breakthrough. Wearing a Lacoste polo instantly gave a person a sense of elevated status. René never set out to flood store shelves with mass-produced goods. To him, each piece was closer to a work of art. Every single item had to represent quality and uniqueness above all else. René spent absolutely nothing on advertising, literally nothing. He believed that a truly good, well-made product didn't need promotion. And that philosophy is precisely what made Lacoste an exclusive brand. As he later recalled, "I could have embroidered 1,000 pieces a day. I could have filled store shelves with them, but then it wouldn't have been the Lacoste I dreamed of." It was in the 1950s that French polo shirts were first spotted on John F. Kennedy and Clint Eastwood. It was a clever and strategically brilliant move by René. Polo shirts were gifted to the most influential and recognizable figures of the time. The result was instant success. In just a matter of weeks, the brand skyrocketed in popularity. Instead of spending millions on traditional advertising, René relied on just a handful of polo shirts. Americans cut back on everything else, spending their last dollars to own this symbol of status. Even Lacoste himself struggled to explain such explosive popularity. In one interview, he said, "There are things in life that simply can't be explained. Maybe if I had chosen a different animal for the logo, something cute and harmless, nothing would have worked. Take a rooster, for example. Everyone would know the brand was French, but the effect probably wouldn't have been the same." And yet the secret of the brand lies far beyond the logo. Lacoste is celebrated for its versatility and refined aesthetics. The emblem became such a powerful symbol of status that it could be worn in any situation, on a casual walk, or even to an important event. Other well-known brands soon began reworking their own logos. Just look at Ralph Lauren's polo player, or the eagle of American Eagle. Some went even further, openly copying the crocodile itself. Legal battles with the Chinese company Crocodile Garments lasted for a full 10 years, until the courts finally forced the plagiarists to change their logo. By the mid-1950s, the product range was still relatively limited. In 1958, a children's clothing line was introduced. And in the 1960s, the world was introduced to Lacoste's leather accessories. By that time, René was already getting older. Managing the business became increasingly difficult. He had earned the rest he had dreamed of for so long. From 1963 onward, the company was led by René's son, Edouard Lacoste. From a young age, he had always helped and supported his father in the family business. And later he made a significant contribution to the company's growth. Under his leadership, in the 1970s, Lacoste launched its first fragrances, which to this day remain among the highest quality in the market. The 1980s brought sunglasses, tennis shoes, leather accessories, and watches. The brand reached the peak of its popularity during this decade as the preppy style became a global trend. Future students of prestigious US colleges flaunted their status with impeccable fashion sense. Plaid trousers, wool argyle vests, loafers, and of course, the legendary Lacoste polo. Edouard's main goal was to expand the product range, which would naturally boost sales. By the 1990s, Lacoste polos had become mainstream, even appearing in budget department stores like Walmart. But, as it turned out, the race for quantity backfired. The product began to be perceived as something easily accessible, ordinary. Meanwhile, competition was only heating up. Dozens of young and ambitious brands popped up like mushrooms after the rain, gradually pushing the Crocodile off the market. By the late 1990s, the company was facing a serious crisis. Sales were plunging, and it felt as if Lacoste was slowly sinking. Bernard even considered selling the family business, but he ultimately decided against it. The board of directors made a strategic move, launching a new clothing line. Creative director Christophe Elmer, a modern romantic, took the helm and elevated the brand to a new level, focusing primarily on younger audiences, a move that turned out to be a guaranteed success. Thanks to Elmer, Lacoste's clothing regained its sense of luxury. Alongside the new apparel line, in 1996 the company launched fresh fragrances for men and women and opened several stores on New York's most prestigious streets. Sadly, that same year marked the passing of the brand's founder, René Lacoste. But his story and legacy didn't end there. In 2005, due to Bernard's serious illness, the company passed to his younger brother, Michel. Later, the reins of leadership went to Philippe Lacoste, René's grandson. Each of them brought their own contributions to the brand, while keeping its core values intact: versatility and elegance. Today, Lacoste remains one of the few major brands still run entirely by the Lacoste family. Today, Lacoste is one of the most famous and best-selling brands in the world, with its products available in more than 100 countries across all continents. Annual sales consistently exceed 50 million items, and the company's own retail network has surpassed 3,000 stores. The headquarters remains in Paris, while all major production is based in the French city of Troyes. But beyond its French factory, the brand also produces items under license in Peru, Morocco, and Italy. Not long ago, Lacoste opened a facility in El Salvador within a free trade zone dedicated exclusively to production for the US market. The story of the brand almost reads like a fairy tale. With a truly bright and happy ending, René Lacoste proved his love for tennis to his father, and in return, he didn't just gain fame as a professional athlete, he earned the love of millions of fans around the world. He laid the foundation for a prestigious legacy, not only for himself, but also for his children, grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren. Walking into a Lacoste store, customers feel like they've entered a small house of style, taking a sense of aesthetic enjoyment into their everyday lives. So, friends, how do you personally feel about the Crocodile brand? Have you ever bought anything from a Lacoste store? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. I'd love to read them. And for today, that's all. See you next time.